So, currently, ladies and gentlemen, it is 5:02 p.m. for me. It is 4:02 p.m. for Franki and Suki from Lucrecia. This is a band I've been wanting on the podcast for such a long time after seeing them on Dreambound, among other bands that I found on there, such as and not limited to Wilderness, Sever, Hollow Front, and many other diamonds in the rough. Because, come on, we're sitting with the band that I would compare as the best elements of Ocean's 8 Alaska, Brand of Sacrifice, and a little bit of Within Destruction. Maybe not the trap metal part, but who knows? That could be a thing in the future. I'm not in Lucrecia, but we are joined by the two faces of the band, the two singers, and we have a set of questions for them here on the Anatomy Podcast. I am your host, Sean Cross, also the overseer for Druid House over on Facebook. Please join us at any time. We would love to have you as the second sophomore album for Worm Shepherd just released, and it seems to be rocking number 22 and number 23 on like US new heavy records, that type of thing. It's been a really cool experience. But to isolate the session down to the band we are interviewing, we have 6 different questions tonight. I mean, after all, speaking for stats and stuff, which I made sure to write them down, currently, Lucrecia and their newest song, Sleeping Slaves of Fate, currently on Spotify, has 82,298 streams. And on YouTube, the video has 373,000 views, 21,000 likes. And what can I say? There's a reason for it. These guys are here to pioneer Kawaiicore. They are here to start a new era of genty, pretty, heavy music. And pretty heavy being separate words. But getting started off, how are you two doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Just kind of chilling. Kind of a slow day, getting ready, like I said, mentioned earlier, to go to a show and stuff. So just kind of hanging out before then.
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking.
Of course. And yeah, definitely have been looking to have you guys on the podcast for such a long time. Just a diamond in the rough, a diamond in the haystack. And I love what you guys have brought to the table. I love your newest music video. And I swear, if these guys are not opening for Brand of Sacrifice, Within Destruction, Ocean's 8 Alaska, and other anime-inspired bands, definitely with Yokai being such a good album and Lifeblood being one of the albums of the year last year, y'all better hype these guys up. Y'all better get the stats up, that way they can have such opportunities. And shit, who wouldn't want a whole concert that is basically tech, death metal, and anime? I know I would.
It sounds cool. Yeah, I like it.
I know I would love to see it. So, first question of the night that we have for these two. We're just getting to know them as human beings, as we usually do in the first half of the Anatomy Podcast session. But first question being, where were you born and raised? Tell us a bit about yourselves.
Want to go first? You want me to go first?
I was born in Redding, California, which is North California. And then I moved to Sacramento when I was 8. And then I moved to Oakland when I was 20. And I've been living here since 2010.
Okay, sick. And, just being in Northern California, it's a lot more cold. It's the West Coast. You're right next to the ocean. I can only imagine that it has its comforts. It's a very nice environment. It's a very nice scenery. But so, yeah, that's really cool. How about you, Franki?
I like Oakland a lot.
I was actually born out of state. I was born in Georgia, Columbus to be specific. So I'm kind of like from the South, but I was moved out here at a pretty young age with my mom after her and my dad separated. and I grew up in Monterey, California, which is like in the middle of California, for like a good 15 years. And then I moved to this little tiny town called Soledad for a while.
Okay.
I lived there, and then I kind of bopped around for a while. I went to Sacramento, in the Woodland area, which is kind of near Sac. And then I touched down in the Bay, in Oakland, where Suki's from. Around the same time, around like 2009, I'd say 2010, somewhere around there. And I kind of just been out here ever since. I kind of like the vibe. Where I was from, it was kind of smaller, so I wasn't really used to the city and stuff like that. Even when I lived around like Sacramento, it didn't really have like a really, really big city kind of vibe. Like,
it's not very. It's a city, but it's not like San Francisco really at all.
Yeah, it's not very hustling and bustling. It's like kind of like low key, which
even though it's bigger.
It's still cool. Yeah, it's still cool, but it's not as hustling and bustling. So when I kind of moved out here, I kind of like got a different kind of vibe, and there's a lot of shows that come out here, and it's kind of good location. You're in the middle of everything, so I kind of just stayed. So yep.
Yeah, without a doubt. And the funny thing is, you always hear in the counterculture scene bands like Korn, and that's just like one of the bigger names. Definitely LA, so different city, but a lot of just gems and a lot of iconic musicians that have cranked their way out of California, and they end up being really big shots. So I can only hope that that is the exact same thing that happens for Lucrecia, because it's an awesome project, and you guys got, of course, you guys got something very, very unique going on here. But on the description, briefly, this is a very, very brief question. On the Lucrecia band official Instagram, I saw in the description the Bay/Tokyo. So I'm curious whether or not y'all have traveled to Japan or anything of that nature thus far in your life.
No, not yet.
So we haven't been to Japan yet, but we have a guitarist actually. His name is Daisuke Ihara. He's actually from Japan. He's technically one of the founding members of Lucrecia. You guys may not have seen him as much recently in like our videos and stuff like that, due to the fact that a couple years ago, around the time we put out the video Katawari Doki, which was the last video he was featured in, Trump was in office, and he made it kind of harder for people that had visas to get new visas and stuff like that, or like renew their visas. And Daisuke, since he was a Japanese citizen here for school, which was how we kind of met each other, he had to go back to Japan, which wasn't a big deal. He likes Japan, so he didn't really mind as much. But it did make things a little bit difficult. But like when we filmed Katawari Doki, he would travel out from Japan to America, and we'd film our videos or do our pictures or whatever we have to do for the band. But since the pandemic, there's been a lot of travel restrictions, and one of the places that have like band travel to and from the country is Japan right now. So for the last 2 years, we haven't really been able to see Daisuke.
It's just one thing after another with someone like him coming from Japan to America.
Yeah.
First it was like that where he literally just couldn't come over, and then COVID happened, and again, no one's really allowed to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
So
yeah,
so it's been a little tough, but they fortunately, like a couple months before the Omicron strain started popping off, they had allowed travel for businessmen and then like one other group of people to and from Japan. So they had believed that sometime this year, if they're able to get a good handle on the Omicron situation, that travel will resume, because from what I've been told by some friends of mine, the financial market, I guess, in Japan relies heavily on tourism, because it's a really fun place to go. And so, a lot of people want to go there. And so they've been taking a big financial hit, just like, many other places.
Exactly.
Because, people can't go. So they're just stuck with, all their native citizens, who they go around and do stuff too. But,
yes,
when you rely heavily on tourism, it's just like probably just takes a lot out of the pocket. So hopefully with Omicron, if they figure out everything and we kind of can get a good handle on it, you guys should be seeing Daisuke soon.
Sweet. And by all,
he's our Tokyo boy.
Yeah, hell yeah. And that's actually really cool. I totally spaced out that detail. I'll do apologies, but I mean, after all,
it's nice talking about him anyways, in case anybody else doesn't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, he hasn't been there for a bit since the last video. So if you're new,
they might like question that too, so.
Right. And it's crazy kind of looking back on that and like kind of reviewing upon that detail, because bands that I've had on the podcast so far, and ones that we've already mentioned here in the session, being Signs of the Swarm, Within Destruction, I mean, they were popping off when they were touring through Japan. And Signs of the Swarm, if you guys check out the session that we did with David, they actually almost got stuck in Japan, which is absolutely crazy. So
that's hard.
Yeah, no, it's rough. It was rough. It was scary, and that's definitely something that he was saying, and I completely get that. When you're not only like 3 states away from home, which I just made the move from AZ to Tennessee, that was pretty rough, and we were doing it in the span of like 2 days straight. It was a whole thing. But scale that up, when you go to a country, when you're like a whole ocean away from home, you're having to stop touring. You don't know if you can get home. Like I can only imagine that that is pretty stressful, anxiety inducing. But at the end of the day, they did get back home. And that is exactly when they started working on Alpsaveri, their latest record. And if you guys haven't checked that out, by all means, check it out, because honestly, one of the albums of the year for me in 2021, really good, really strange, almost digital Matrix vibe to it. Like you wouldn't think a deathcore band can do that. But when I listen to the record, I think of like the darker and the more robotic sides of the Matrix narrative. And that's always been really charming. So
that sounds super cool.
Yeah, no, it's really dope. Shout out to the boys in Signs of the Swarm. We'll be seeing you tomorrow night in Nashville at the Basement East. I am so excited. It's been way too long. Yeah, it's dope.
Super heavy too.
They're super heavy, and Dave is an absolute sweetheart. Like he's actually one of the only people that I have a photo of from just concerts and stuff, because I like taking photos. But for whatever reason, that's my photo with him is the only one. But he was such an awesome dude. So getting back to the questions, of course, while we're getting nice and comfortable, nice and cozy here on the Anatomy Podcast, what musicians or people in your life and in the world have inspired you the most?
You go first again. You want me to go first? Okay. I would say for me, musician-wise, growing up, I would say some artists or bands that really kind of shaped my perspective on music. I'd say probably first would probably be like Michael Jackson. Growing up as a kid was probably like my first big musical inspiration. And I remember before listening to him when I was like 2 or 3 years old, I never really I liked music and stuff like that, but it was like the first time I actually wanted like a tape or like a record or a CD by an artist. And then I would say next I would probably say like Linkin Park was probably like my first big like metal band. I liked Linkin Park a lot growing up. I was really big in like hip hop and stuff like that when I was young. And I remember my dad, he didn't really listen to like a lot of metal and stuff like that.
Right.
And I don't even know why he got the CD, but he listened to it and he must have liked it. And I used to see him like once a week, and I pull up into his car and he just turns on Hybrid Theory and we're just like bumping it, and I was just like, man, this is kind of cool. Like I kind of fuck with this. So and then I remember asking, I lived with my stepdad at the time, who he actually did like metal. I was like, hey, can you get me the CD? My dad had the CD and I really like it. So I remember him driving me like over to the like the warehouse for like FYE music that they had back then.
Yeah.
Buying it and just playing that CD like until it was tired, so I couldn't play it anymore. But yeah, I'd say them. I really liked Mike Hem a lot growing up. Gerard Way was like another really big inspiration to me, especially being somebody that is really pushed like his like comic ideas that he had and stuff like that back then. He openly openly brought up his like love for like horror films and like anime and stuff like that. So I really vibed with that growing up. And even with Lucrecia, even though our music's kind of different, me and Suki kind of try to bring those kind of elements into it.
Yes.
And then I'd probably say as far as like metal goes, I was really inspired growing up by I'd probably say like 3 metal bands that really inspired me were probably like Whitechapel. Back when I was in high school, like when they had Somatic Defilement and like This Is Exile, like I really, really liked those albums a lot. They kind of really changed my perspective on like just heavy music just in general. And then Veil of Maya, I'd probably say.
Veil of Maya.
That really kind of put me in my first progressive metal, like prog and like gent, were probably like Veil, The Faceless, and Boo. But Veil of Maya is like Common Man's Collapse album. Like really, really changed my perspective on like heavy music and like the way you could play it, and that it didn't have to just be like chug. Yeah. Which is cool still, but you can put some flavor and some spice in there. That it doesn't have to be just plain no seasoned meat.
Exactly. Yeah. When you just have plain beef and you're just ripping through that, this is just an analogy following his analogy. When you don't season it, when you don't even put salt or pepper on it, and you're just whipping through it. I mean, sure, you're eating, but are you enjoying the food? Are you adding little details to it? And something that, as a musician and a creator, I've always respected about fellow California local, even though they're from LA, Korn, Jonathan Davis. He's always had this expression, and it's followed me throughout my whole like creative medium career, there has to be a balance. You can't just have like, chug, 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 heavy, 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 and then just keep on doing that. Over time, it'll become almost dehydrating. It will get stale. And that's what really was awesome about bands like Born of Osiris, Veil of Maya, and plenty others. Linkin Park. Linkin Park and Bring Me the Horizon are probably the best examples in modern musical history to me that demonstrate how a musician, how a band in the mainstream, in like the top tiers of the musical industry or counterculture music industry, they demonstrate to me the best example of you can make literally anything you want. You just need to be educated on what you're doing. You got to know what you're doing, and you got to have a passion for it. You got to have a love for it. And on top of that, when you build a foundation for yourself and your project in the scene, that becomes absolutely iconic. I mean, the momentum and the motivation is kind of there. Not even speaking for money, but just following and community.
That's
and
true.
That's also like all really, really important things about being a musician or a creator nowadays, because every day there's a new band project. Every day there's a new record, a debut, etc. Obviously, we can't list every single one every day because the music world has become so big. As far as I'm concerned, it's like 1 in 4 people are a musician, a creator, or something else. And that just expands the horizons. It just creates this galaxy of various musicians, creative ideas for music, and innovative new ways to crack the code and just like make something fresh, make something that might crack the billboards open, but also appeal to, corpse paint, Lorna Shore.
Yeah, most definitely.
Lorna Shore, they definitely demonstrated that last year. And it's been so monumental and historic to see that. But hell yeah, love that you ended up growing up in Michael Jackson. That's definitely another musician that is iconic. And he just established so much for music. So it's really cool to see that someone on the podcast, someone finally swinging through is like, hey, Michael Jackson, I loved him when I was a kid.
Yeah, most definitely.
That is a different perspective, and I love that. How about you, Suki?
So it's the 5 most influential
artists. Yeah, like artists for you musically.
Yeah, it could be artist, it could be musician, or it can be just normal people. I mean, I have I have actors and people that are in the acting world that I absolutely inspire to. Jason Momoa. But, it could be anybody like that.
Yeah, if we're talking about that, then I guess it would be one of the same answers as Frankie. Actually, I was really obsessed with Michael Jackson too when I was a kid. Like, I watched the movie Willie and stuff. And there's like the whale, the killer whale.
I feel Willie, yeah.
Just like I really liked him as a kid. Like, I really trusted him, and I didn't trust a lot of like adults at the time, which is kind of crazy because a lot of people have their they had the news came on and then they're hearing all this stuff, but
yeah,
I never felt that way. And I always I had a hard time trusting adults growing up just because I've seen all the bad stuff they did. So yeah, I really liked him. I kind of looked at him like a father figure in a way. I liked how hardworking he was. And I would say after that, I really liked Whitney Houston when I was little. And then I liked Mariah Carey. It's hard to say because it depends like what era Suki you're talking about.
That's true. That's fair.
When I was little, it was like those. It was like R&B, and then pretty much just R&B, and then Michael Jackson, which is kind of a little bit R&B, but he's mostly like pop. And then after that, I got into like Linkin Park as well, and then I got into Korn, and it kind of grew from there. And then I started like a Slipknot. I always liked like Alice in Chains and Alice in Chains and Korn was like my early teen years, like 12 to 13. Like that's all I listened to.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, the first time I experienced progressive metal was Between the Buried and Me when I was 18. And I never heard anything like that before. So I knew it was something different and special and unique. And I asked my friend, I said, do you know this band Between the Buried? He's like, yeah, I know that band. And he's like, oh yeah, there's some more bands that like you might like if you like that. And he showed me Veil Maya. He showed me Boo. And also, I'm blanking right now.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
You said it earlier.
Faces, After the Barrel.
After the Barrel. So yeah, when I heard After the Barrel, I was like, holy crap, like, and I heard Volumes, Wormholes.
Volumes. Okay, cool.
And I was just like literally for those next 2 years, like I was just blown away. Like I kept clicking on next band after next band after next band.
Yeah.
Just saw on the side of recommended YouTube. And I was like, oh, this is what I've always liked. I just never knew it before. I never heard it before. And like, this is the kind of music I want to play, because I wanted to play guitar originally.
Right.
Because I was too shy to be a vocalist.
Oh, yeah.
But but it turns out the only thing I'm good at is like this kind of stuff. So unfortunately, that's what I have to do. But then I heard Issues.
Issues. Okay.
And then there's like R&B singing and Dance Gonna Dance, and there's like R&B singing. With,
yeah.
Like, and I'm like, okay, now this is really what I always wanted.
Yeah.
I've always liked R&B, and I've always liked progressive. And I was like, if I can put that together, that's my dream. And then I fuse it with inspirations like anime and video games, and then I'll be happy for life because I'm just doing what makes me happy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the very, very important first step, really, as becoming a musician, wanting to be in a project. I would argue, I make it sound like I'm in a successful band or a band at all, but you know, it's all about perspective, and it's all about seeing how other people in the craft, well established in the craft, are doing what they do. And it's all about determination. It's all about finding your niche. And even in the music world, it's tough because some people don't understand that to be a musician, to be a creative person, and to really, really establish yourself, you kind of have to get out of your comfort zone and, you know, experiment a little bit. And it's sad because even in the music world, even in the creative world, some people will discourage you. They're like, wait, you're trying to fuse Signs of the Swarm with anime? What is wrong with you? Or something like that.
Yeah,
and
when we first started, we got that a lot.
Do that when you're doing something different.
Yep, exactly.
Always. We've heard it so many times from the beginning, and now the same people are saying, "Oh, wow, oh, wow,
wow."
Yeah.
But like they need to see like concrete results, like because they don't see the rise, like they don't see like how fans are just, you know, really just good to us in general, you know, because like they just really connect with us. Yeah. And they say it all the time. I'm not saying this. They just say, you seem really genuine. You seem like you guys really are just doing what you love. And that's why I love it. That's just what they say. And it's true. I mean, I guess they can feel that vibe maybe because it's the honest truth. But people that don't feel that way or don't think that way aren't going to see that. And they're only going to see like numbers.
Yes.
And if it's not high enough for them, then they totally disregard your idea, even if it could be like a really good idea, but to them, because it's never been done before and there's no like concrete like evidence it's going to be a good idea, they're like, no.
Yeah. And we have a word for people like that: skeptics, creative skeptics. We don't do it. We don't do it that here.
All the time. So anybody that has that happen, honestly, you might have a good idea.
Yeah,
because I feel like
do not let them discourage you. I would say most definitely.
Yeah, because I feel like that's pretty much what we've heard so many times, and we end up doing it anyways because it's true and it's honest to us.
Even when it came to
it worked out.
Even when it came to finding other musicians to work with when we first started, was like really, really, really fucking hard.
Yes.
Because every single time we'd pitch the idea to them, we're like, yeah, we want to play like progressive metalcore, and we want to have like a female vocalist, which wasn't fairly common in like 2016 when we were first trying to form the band.
Yeah.
There wasn't too many prolific female, like we didn't have like Courtney LaPlante and, you know, like Shani Crabbe and all these good female vocalists out there. So when I tell them like, yeah, so this girl Suki, she wants to scream, and we're going to write some songs about like Final Fantasy. That was like our first idea. We're like, we're going to write a bunch of songs about Final Fantasy, and they were like, I don't know about this, man. I don't know. When we met Daisuke, because he's familiar with all that stuff. And in Japan, there's like a lot of female vocalists. There's like lots of female, like all female, like metal bands. All kinds of stuff.
They're interesting in that aspect because like there's a lot of feminists fighting for what rights for women over there. But at the same time, it's like they respect female musicians more than over here.
Yep.
So I can't really explain that, but it's true. Like I actually a lot of my inspirations from female metal vocalists were Japanese first, because I found them first before I found me over here. And then Frankie showed me some more. You showed me what's that hardcore? She's hella good. Jericho. Walls of Jericho. Yeah. If you heard of Walls of Jericho, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, she was like the only one back in the day.
Yeah, and I was like, wow. And you know, nobody believed that girls or females could do vocals.
Yeah.
So I had to prove it to them. And then I came out with my cover, and they're like, oh. And it was hard in the beginning, but now it's so easy. Now it's like there's some skeptics still, but for the most part, like because there's so many females out there right now doing it, then it's much easier now. Like you don't have to really convince anyone.
And that's
with the anime thing too.
Yeah.
And like that's the awesome thing too, is like speaking briefly on Japan and stuff, and like the way that they approach their culture and stuff. It's definitely been awesome to see bands like Wagamama Rakia. Love them.
Our guitarist Daisuke actually wrote for them.
Of course, you know, it's like, of course, you know.
Yeah, actually, this is one of the people on Wagamama's shirt, actually.
Fuck yeah, that's dope. That's awesome. Like, I have to say, some of my biggest musical genres right now have to be like prog deathcore. Definitely the more ambient stuff. There's what I call anime opening music, but it's mainly like Japanese rock. I wasn't trying to abbreviate that. There's Japanese rock. There's J-pop rock. Like, so many bands, so many good bands coming out of Japan, because they have an intense appreciation for metal and counterculture. Like, among other things, something I learned recently.
And they're not as elitist either.
Yes, exactly.
They don't mind if a band does like a soft song, even though they're mostly known as heavy, or if they want to try just experimental genre, or like, oh, I like multiple genres. Even just like multiple genres, going to multiple different genre shows and supporting people, understanding that going to shows supports the band that you care about and making more music.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're pretty cool in that aspect for sure.
Right. I think shout out to a whole bunch of bands that I've been finding over there. There's Crystal Lake. That's like one of the biggest ones, period. There's Crystal Lake. There's Wagamama Rakia. There is Bandmade, who just
Bandmade's cool.
They just did an opening for a Platinum End, or at least they had the song established, and they've been doing that for a long time. And then they're like, we need this song for basically the new Death Note show. And I'm like, yo, hell yeah. Listening to
that's what I'm trying to do next.
Dude, that would be so cool. I was having that on mine. Like, nobody's used Baby Metal by Bringing the Horizon as an intro, and it's baffling me. It's baffling.
I know. So I'm trying to like get it first, at least. You know, we'll see.
That'd be dope. And so to briefly kind of extend upon that second question, I wanted to ask if there is a specific vocalist that inspired either one of you to become a vocalist in the first place.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, most definitely. I'd say for me, when I first started, I originally started singing first, but I wasn't that good at it. I'd say when I first started singing, Gerard Way was like probably my inspiration. But when I started getting more into like screaming and stuff like that, I would say like my big inspiration, I'd probably say, was Johnny Davey from Job for a Cowboy.
Yeah,
was one of my first really big inspirations. I was like, fuck. Him and Oliver Sykes, I'd probably say, were like my first two big inspirations in high school.
Hell yeah. And I mean, I can probably say
Phil Bozeman for sure too. I really liked Phil Bozeman a lot.
Don't push that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Phil Bozeman, iconic vocalist. Oliver Sykes, another iconic vocalist. Johnny Davey, AZ local. You know, technically he's from where I was born and raised. He was just a couple cities over, but they were from Glendale, and I didn't know that up until a couple of years ago. I'm like, wait a minute, they're from Arizona too. So many people come from Arizona. Technically, like Lincoln Park. You know, they came out of AZ, and that was always a cool thing to learn. But yeah, that's actually really cool. Suki, do you have any specific vocalists that got you into like doing heavies or doing, you know, what you do for Lucrecia right now?
Okay. So just start from the Between the Buried and Me.
Oh, right. So Between the Buried and Me was the bigger heavy vocalist inspiration? Or?
Yeah, that was the first one that I practiced too, actually. Like one of the first bands I practiced. Oh, is it good?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. Yeah, I used to practice their songs a lot at first. And then I just like started liking Rings of Saturn, Ian Bear.
Oh, yo. Okay.
Yeah, he's still like a big inspiration to me, actually, still to this day. But when he first started out, like I was already a huge fan. Like not a simp, but like if it was like I'm not trying to like get with them, like on the level of simp though, as in like a fan.
A super fan.
Yeah, I was like a super fan without any like simp like attraction there.
Yeah, no, no worries there. After
I
all,
was
we're
like,
just
oh my
talking about
God.
musical inspirations.
I was like, oh my gosh, if I could be that good, then I'll be happy in life. Like I could just die happy. And if I could sound like Mariah Carey and Ian Bear, then
that's actually a really cool combination.
then that'd be the greatest day of my life. And then
Yeah.
I could die. Like as long as I put some shit out, like just go die.
Then I can die.
But I start digging my grave. I start putting the dirt on me like a blanket, packing it in, and then said night night. But yeah. And then like I said before, Dick Allen, way early, like Dickie Allen. I used to watch a lot of his tutorials.
Vocal diaries, yeah.
And then currently he mentioned, oh, you like Will Ramos. And I said, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. Because he's like, I'm pretty sure he's like really young, and I'm pretty sure he's also really new to the scene, so I kind of forgot. But yeah, he's really good. He's like on the level for me as like Ian Bear. So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'll ever be that good, but all I can do is try.
Definitely with what Lucrecia has provided so far, you are like at least I would say like 2/4 of the way through. Not even kidding.
Yeah.
If anything, because like Lucrecia is still pretty early on. Like you got a lot going on, and I mean, me personally, I'm no professional vocalist. I barely just uploaded a cover recently, but yeah, I can definitely agree that once like inspiring to people such as Ian Bear and Mariah Carey and Will Ramos, that's for one a deadly trio combination. Two, yes, especially for a female vocalist, which I just use the term vocaless, with ES.
Vocal. Wait, did you say less like Pokemon or less?
Like
Vocal last is hilarious. If you didn't say that, I'm taking it.
No. So I have posted that around every now and then because like female vocalists, that's just way too much. It's like a vocalist who's a female. Like it almost seems like degrading a little bit. So like,
yeah,
just a vocalist.
Only for now. Hopefully, eventually it won't. It's just a description.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now because like it's still like in the beginning phases of like a lot of women really like being respected in the metal community as vocalists. So I still feel like there's a little bit way to go, but like I said earlier, there's a huge difference even just a few years ago when I first started. Like I was so scared. I thought, I shouldn't do this because there's no way that people are going to respect me even if I sound decent, just because I'm a girl. And it like made me not want to try. But when he showed me those other people, and I was just like, if they can do it, I can do it. It's possible. Anybody can. Yeah. Vocals are just different because you use like a different set of vocal cords.
Exactly. And I would argue, so Will Ramos, how he's gotten like really, really high with his vocals and his like really fry stuff.
Yeah.
You realize that you can probably surpass him as far as those higher pitches, right?
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, no, I know you will. I fucking know you will. And the thing is, too, what's really cool, I've been speaking and in collaboration, we did an anatomy podcast session with Derek Connolly of Nithful, which is basically Infant Annihilator on Satanist crack. Like, it's fucking nuts. But basically, he was saying that someone he used to know, a lady friend he used to know, basically, she is now basically starting a female vocalist-led version of Nithful, which is something really, really heavy, really just, and you know, it's simple as that. That's another stepping stone for the scene. And I completely understand like that discouragement and stuff and just kind of being hesitant on that because even
Yeah.
4 years ago, yeah, like maybe
I was like, oh man, they're gonna
yeah.
make fun of the way I look. They're gonna make fun of the way I sound. Just say that I'm a girl. Like I was literally thinking of like just a whole list of separate things.
Right.
Because like they're so harsh, I feel like on people on looks with girls, you know. But like I said, it's been a lot better recently. And it's because like I know we've all been through this. I've talked to lots of female vocalists. They feel the same way as I do. They were really scared of that stuff too, and they still do get like terrible comments. I still get terrible comments, but because they pushed through it and inspired other people like me, and then hopefully I'm inspire other people, and you know, it's just like a little
like a ripple effect.
Yeah, ripple effect or domino effect. And I've had a lot of people message me recently, not recently, I guess the last 2 years, saying like, oh, you inspired me. I'm a girl, you inspired me. You know, it's like, you know, I feel like I didn't know that we could do that. And, you know, same thing I used to say until I learned.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really moving. And I am more than proud to be saying that with Blind Without Our Failures, which is my own project, I have every intention on obligating this project to a female vocalist. Thanks to bands like Lucrecia, thanks to bands like Make Them Suffer, thanks to bands like Spirit Box and Ginger, who have been blowing up the internet with their albums, people. Like, times are changing.
Oh, actually, that sounded really good at the end because it's the vocals, your sounds are really low for some reason. And unfortunately, my neighbors started partying, so I can't hear you very well all of a sudden.
Oh, right. No, that's not an issue at all. That's why.
Perfect.
That's way better. Maybe I don't know if you can turn it up so you don't have to do that, but I feel bad.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I mean, after all, this is definitely more or less like ASMR level, but you know, fucking my contact. There we go.
Every day.
But moving on a little bit, we have the third question of the night, and this I think will take the most time. But by all means, you can take all the time you want to answer this. Top 5 records that convinced you to be a musician or to form Lucrecia.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Frank.
Okay.
I'm gonna drink my soda.
So I would say, obviously, the first album for me, like first influential album that pushed me towards music, I'd say was Thriller. That's the Michael Jackson one.
Right.
My parents literally bought me that fucking tape, record, CD. I've owned it in like almost every format, almost every year for Christmas and my birthday until I was like 9 or 10 years old.
This newer version.
Yeah, they were just buying it every year because by the time the year, like 6 months went by, and I destroyed it because I'd been listening to it so much. And then I would say my next most influential record, I probably would say, would be Hybrid Theory. That really pushed me towards playing like just like heavier music just in general. And then I would probably say probably let's do I would say next for me probably that just pushed me towards heavy music in general. I'd either say Somatic Defilement by Whitechapel or Count Your Blessings by Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah.
Both of those are pretty big on the list. And then as far as playing like music for Lucrecia, I would probably say The Afterimage, I would say, is probably like a really, really big one.
Ooh, that's a really specific one too. That's where fucking Brand of Sacrifice came from. That's dope.
Yeah. The Afterimage, they influence like our sound like a lot. Me and Suki, we used to listen to them like a fucking shit ton.
We lightweight like know them because we were like super fans.
Yeah. So you know Kyle and Mike and all those guys. But so that I'd say that was probably like one of the big ones. Another band, how many is that? That's like 4 records. I'd say another one probably would be a random one. Would probably be A Lot Like Birds. I can't remember the name of the fucking album right now, but it's the one that has Truly Random Code on it. It's like the first one. That one was like a really.
What's the first one?
Yeah, it's the first album, but that album was like a progressive rock album, but like kind of progressive post-hardcore. But I really like it. Yeah, it has a lot of really nice textures in it, and the singing is like really like supreme, and it really pushed me and Suki to kind of go in that direction. And then another, I would say, my last 2, I'd probably say would be Glass Clouds, Royal Thousand. I would say would probably be another one. Me and Suki listen to that like a shit ton, and really
I just remembered an album. How could I forget this?
That's okay.
I thank goodness I remembered it now, though, before it's too late.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, I won't say. I knew you were gonna say that, so I don't want to say
I
it.
said, oh, snap. How could I forget?
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I'd say Rural Thousand by Glass Cloud, probably like a lot. And then another fuck, dude. I don't even know why I didn't mention these, but for Lucrecia, I would probably say either the last one would either be Danza 3, Reflections Exist, or Hail Mary by I Wrestle the Bear Once would probably be like
Oh shit.
one of the other three, because we really like dissonant, like heavy stuff. So like it was like a big goal was like we got to put like some like Josh Travis type shit in the songs.
Yeah.
Like the Dance Gavin Nancy
There's
kind of
also
vibes.
Black Cloud.
So yeah, I would probably say those are probably the big Lucrecia ones, and any Nobu Uematsu song ever from Final Fantasy.
There are a lot of video game stuff, but I don't even want to get
Yeah.
into that. Years.
Yeah, so those are probably mine. I try not to ramble on too much because there's like quite a bit.
We listened to a lot of music growing up, and a little bit different, but we still listen to like equal amounts of like music. So like we could just go on for a while here.
Yeah.
All right, your turn.
So I'll start off with like spin-off Glass Cloud, but original Sky's Airplane. I think it's Sounds of Symmetry.
Sound of Symmetry, yeah.
On the album. Actually, like to this day, I still listen to it and I still get inspired.
That's dope.
Yeah, they were just kind of, in my opinion, like I feel like they're ahead of their time for real, because yeah, I still like get chills. I still like, he's such a big influence to me too. I forgot about him in a way, because he sings and screams. Yeah, if you guys haven't heard the album, I'm just gonna say it because I love it that much. Like, you should listen to Sounds of Symmetry. It's fucking awesome. His lyrics are fucking great. Like, literally, it's like supreme. Like, I can't even like say it can't get any better. Honestly, it really can't.
Okay.
And then I would say Issues, self-titled first album, because like I said, when I heard Gent and then R&B together, it's pretty much like my dream come true. And then it would be Downtown Battle Mountain 2 by Dance Gavin Dance, because again, Johnny Craig. Yeah. I knew that he liked R&B like the moment I heard him. Yeah. You know, so like those two, I just knew it. Like, you can tell, just as someone who also loves R&B and who wants to be an R&B singer. I was like, oh, okay, wow, that's gorgeous. Except for I just want to be Tyler and Johnny plus also a badass screamer. Right. Because I like both and I don't want to give up any. Right.
Don't ever compromise. No compromise.
No, I don't. I just want to like be. I just want to like take like 5 hours a day to practice, because I just like carried on an extra freaking thing to do. Yeah. And then
be extra, man. That's art.
And it's hard because I just have to take care of my voice so much. Like, it really is difficult. But what was it? I said 3.
You said 3, yeah. Okay.
And then it would be, nobody knows who this is, but it's my tattoo on my wrist here. That's this guy Hyde Symbol. He's a Japanese. He used to be he's still in it, but it's like a progressive psychedelic band. It's kind of hard to explain. Pop band. Like, not really psychedelic nowadays, but back in the day they kind of were. But they're more so kind of like, I don't know how to explain them really. It's
Japanese rock, I guess.
Like Japanese rock, but like on another level, like on another planet, like with still like really, I don't know. I know. I just have to show you, so I'll just like have to show it. Yeah. But it would be his album, Rentgen, his solo album. I listened to that like 50,000 times, and I still listen to it. And Frankie loves it now. I got him into it, and it's really gorgeous. He uses a lot of upright bass and acoustic guitar and violins, and then sometimes like the little French recording thing. And it's just like hella cool. And then I'd say Mouse Miser. I think it's called I can't say it.
It's fine.
It's like some French word. Japanese people are French, so
they're hella proggy, like orchestra,
like avant-garde
rock. So like, just like really hard to explain, but like honestly, I think a lot of people would like it if they heard it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people who.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing too. We will definitely be providing these musical recommendations down in the comments below this session.
Oh, cool.
That'd be
That's
nice.
awesome.
Yeah, and
in that case, let me shout out one more band.
right, let's do it.
It's our friends from Japan. What should I don't have an album out yet, right? They just have the songs right now.
Yeah.
I think easiest way to find them is on YouTube, and they're called Prompts, Prompts.
Yep.
Yes.
What's the song called with
Asphyxiate?
Asphyxiate with
Ryo Kishinada.
From
Crystal Lake.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, it's sick. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you should check it out actually too. I was thinking that you might like it too.
Yeah,
yes.
Specifically, I think you would like this song.
Yeah, they're really cool. They invited us actually to tour with them once Japan opens back up because we found out it was funny. We've been listening to their music for like the last year, and they hit us up and we found out they actually really liked our music too.
Yo, that's always dope.
Everybody knows our guitarist Daisuke over there.
Yeah,
like, I swear
yeah.
he's a freaking celebrity.
Sick. That's awesome. That's actually really cool.
Pale Dusk.
Okay, I think I've heard of them before.
Like popping off over there, and he's played with Crystal Lake hella times.
Hell yeah, that's fucking awesome, man.
Made in Japan, honestly.
Well, here's the thing too.
Luckily for us, he just likes Lucrecia's music. He has his hands full with everything he's doing right now. He doesn't really need to be in our band.
Hey, loyalty, man. That's the word.
We're loyal to him too, so I'm glad.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome though. And yet again, like that's the thing about Japan. They love the strange and heavy and just like really music that we got going on here. Like they eat that stuff up for breakfast. So of course there's more enthusiasm over there. And yeah, just scoop it up. No.
Oh,
like cereal.
Nice. I can't wait to see the shows over there because they're just so like appreciative of the hard work that you put into it.
Yeah, and I mean, on top of that, basically, you guys are also utilizing an aesthetic that is responsible for, the not just like the image of Japan, because like that would sound really, really white on my end, but it's kind of true.
Like it's like the pop culture.
It's a huge part of their culture, though, in a way. So in a way, you're right. Everybody knows what an idol is over there. Everybody, like, you're not Japanese if you don't know what that is,
Yeah.
And they like idols. Like it's something that's respected and liked. And even like metal dudes love idols. Actually, they love them the most. Like the people you like least suspect love idols the most.
Yeah.
Like the hardest dudes with tattoos and
a lot of our Japanese fans are like it's really fun.
Yeah, they look like stereotypical like kind of bad boys, but they love idols, dude.
I'm a Hell's Angel. I ride
the
pretty
California
much freeway. Harley Davidson that has like a waifu on their back or
he's
whatever.
Like, and then like I don't.
It's a different era, man. It's a different era for the West because like.
I know.
You're absolutely right. There are so many hard dudes who are just like, yeah, I'm into Dark Throne and Mayhem and Behemoth. But I also love My Future Diary. And
that's right. I like lots of soft and hard stuff, and I think it's human. I think it's kind of like, I think that someone who only likes one thing, it's not really true for themselves because maybe they haven't experienced it or opened their mind to it. And I'm not saying that like everything the same as everybody else, but I know there's another genre out there that they will like that's not that genre. Like it's impossible unless you're just like really boring.
Yeah. And again, there has to be a balance to it, man. Like
it's just like, come on, there's so much fun stuff out there. Don't you want to live?
Yes. And it's human nature to be in balance. You cannot be in just strictly dark, strictly light. Like that's not how we live life, man.
No, I mean, we have like multiple aspects to ourselves.
Exactly. I mean, even corpse paint, man. It's black and white. It's not just black. It's not just white. Because otherwise I'd be in trouble. People would be thinking I'm like doing something else. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, it's crazy. It's really crazy how much, and especially recently, man, how much Japanese culture has influenced our culture.
I know. I never thought I'd see the day. I used to get made fun of liking it, and now it's like trendy.
Yeah,
it's made life a lot more fun for us.
It's crazy.
Dude,
I was like,
I can only imagine.
Going for it.
Yeah, I was too. So I'm with you on that. We stand together on that. But now people are like, have you seen the new season of Attack on Titan?
Yeah, now like everybody. I mean, it's like, it's kind of you're weird if you don't watch anime, kind of.
Yeah, the freaking tables have turned, people.
I know.
Waves are in control.
Whatever. I'm too old for this nowadays, anyways. I'm gonna stay out of it.
Anime is for children, and then you watch The Promised Neverland or My Future Diary or Attack on Titan. You're like, the fuck?
Hey, but if you're only gonna watch one anime, then at least yes, it's Attack on Titan. It's a good choice because that's one of our favorites.
Yeah, you'll get a lot out of that. So
yeah, there's so much.
You read the manga and everything.
You get out of Attack on Titan. It's crazy. Like that guy is a genius.
Yeah, I will say, there's a reason I'm wearing this beanie, people. One Piece. One Piece. I'm all over One Piece. It took me 1 year to crank 1,000 episodes.
I was going to say, you watched all 1,000?
Oh my god,
that's crazy. That's cool that you watched all 1,000. I'm not a One Piece fan, but I respect people. I have a lot of friends that are big One Piece fans, and I respect anybody who's read all the manga and watched all 1,000 episodes and all that stuff. That's some dedication, dude.
Dedication, dude. And it must be good. It must be good if people are
so good. Like,
so much sacrificing so much time over it, you know.
Yeah, and the thing is, the writer, he's thinking, or at least he was saying earlier last year, that it's probably going to be going on until 2025. So,
oh shoot,
yeah, most likely
he's working hard over there.
He's working hard, exactly.
Well, but when are we going to get another Hunter x Hunter chapter? 3-4 years.
That's always such a meme. It's so funny to see.
Like,
he's playing Dragon Quest.
This guy's like over here hustling 1,000 episodes, 1,000 chapters, whatever, and then this guy is like barely putting anything out in like 2 years.
Yeah, I think the hype is
the
there.
Opposites.
Yeah, as a fellow weeb, as I would call myself veteran weeb now, because I've watched like 1,000 episodes in 1 year. That was hard. Like, I was working a call center job from home. That was the easiest part about it.
Oh, wow.
Guaranteed. So like 5 to 10 episodes a day since September of 2020. And it took a long time, but it was so worth it. So people, I know it seems like a lot, but it's worth it. I promise.
And, you can just start here and there, just even if you only do one episode a day.
Exactly. But the thing is, with 1,000 episodes, it's going to take about 3 years. So.
Well, then if they like it, then that's good for them. It's something that lasts so long.
Exactly. It's going to last them up until they probably have kids or something.
Sometimes I'm sure, like, this is what we'll do. Sometimes we'll watch one episode a day, and then, like, Saturday we'll watch 5 in a row.
Right. Yeah.
It's
crazy, right? But
it's still better than not, like,
getting
intimidated. Like, if you know you like it and you want to watch it, like, Hunter x Hunter is not that many, but 150 episodes.
Yeah.
If you like it, you're going to put in at least a little bit of work each time. It's not like I watched the whole thing as fast as possible. Like, I could only watch maybe one a day or sometimes one every couple of days.
Yeah.
But then I would binge it on, like, Sunday. And it was awesome. Like, I love it. I wish I could do it again. I wish I could forget it, and I wish I could rewatch it.
Dude, for real.
And then have experiences all over again. Like, because that's how good it is. So, like, if you feel that way about One Piece, I don't think people should be intimidated by episodes. If anything, that makes it last longer.
Yeah. Taste, man.
Yeah, because Attack on Titan's over. I'm hella fucking mad.
It's not over. It's back, actually.
Well, it's about to be over.
But it's already over for us. You already know what's going to happen.
Yeah, fair enough. That's why I don't read manga. Like, I wish I could, but, like, that's basically spoiler alert ahead of time, just ready to go. But what's really cool,
so great, like, you're having a fun time reading it still. But also, sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, there's like certain panels in the manga, I'm like, what is going on here? That
never happens.
And then I see it in the anime, and I'm like, oh. No, you said something last episode that you didn't notice before. You didn't know that's what they're doing. So no, don't listen to him. He's kind of lying. There's been times that.
Right.
It's just little subtle things sometimes, but it still makes it fun.
Yeah, that's really cool. Exactly, dude. Sub overdub.
And the music. The intro.
The music, yes, the new opening for Attack on Titan.
That's so exciting too.
Dude, have y'all seen Rage of Bahamut though?
No, I have not.
So the band that does the opening for Attack on Titan, the final chapter, he did the opening for this other show. and it is so badass.
Okay.
It's like
Check it out.
it's two-step worthy, really.
We know,
It's like
we know that band because they did a song with this female rapper that we really like from Japan called Aqua Gorilla.
Yeah, we're like, wait a
yeah,
minute. We're like, wait a minute.
We're like, hey, let's do that song with Aqua Gorilla.
Oh
yeah.
Crazy. Yes, Alco Gorilla, please. If you guys like rap or Japanese rap, like check her out. She's like super badass and she's not really known.
Yeah.
So I just want to shout her out because
Shout
I know
out.
how it is, like when you're working, busting your butt.
Yeah.
and you deserve it and you're so cool. But
exactly. But yeah, definitely shout out to all those musicians. And again, we will have those all down below after the session. I'll be getting them to comment and send me all the recommendations. And of course, our boy Randiness, who is now helping me edit these. He's going to have a fun time getting all of those in. So shout out to Randiness for sure.
Anytime you need some help, I can help with the links or anything.
Yeah, for real. Like basically it'll just be the links I'll have you guys send me, and then I'll have him like put the album covers up. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be dope. And being that I have an editor I feel I can rely on now, who doesn't take 3 weeks to respond to me, because he's a YouTuber and he does a lot of shit. Like
so he edits your stuff for you?
Yeah, so basically we are going to be working together, and in future podcast sessions, he's actually going to be my co-host because he was doing interviews, with other bands, and I can only hope that ends up being the cherry on top because he and I are very passionate about music, and we love doing stuff like this. And he beat me to mental cruelty. I was a little bit jealous, but it's okay. But fourth question being for the night, how did you guys name the band Lucrecia?
Okay, I'll go with this one since I was kind of the one who thought it up. So Lucrecia came about because I used to play in this like progressive like tech death band called Plagues of the Armada, like back when I was in high school all the way to my like young adulthood. And when I was in that band, I kind of got tired of playing like the kind of music we played because tech death, although it's cool, you only really can play if it's like traditional tech death, like one style. It's usually really fast, or sometimes slow if you have breakdowns and stuff like that. But it's generally just like really fast paced blast beats and like that. And I decided I wanted to do a different kind of band, like a progressive, like a softer, like progressive rock or progressive metalcore band.
Naturally,
I wanted to name it after like a Final Fantasy, some Final Fantasy 7 thing because it was like my favorite game, just growing up. And the three that I decided between was this character Aerith, who is a really famous character who dies in the game, and then this city that you start out in called Midgar, or name it after this other smaller secondary character named Lucrecia.
Okay.
And when my band was, I just kind of held on to the idea. When my band was like kind of coming to a close, Suki had asked me or mentioned that after we went to the show together, that she wanted to form a band. And like it'd be cool to form a band, and she wanted to try playing music because she'd never done it before, and it just seemed cool. So originally I was gonna play guitar when we made Lucrecia. But quickly I realized that because we were trying to do like, music of the caliber that we play now, that my skills just weren't up to par with what we were trying to play, no matter how much I could write on Guitar Pro. So we met Daisuke and this other dude, James, and we had them take over that role. And then I just ended up switching to the position of singing. And when we did that, she was like, we need to come up with like a name at this point. And then so I just pitched the three that I had. And I knew that Suki liked Final Fantasy a lot too. So she said that she thought Lucrecia kind of had the best kind of like vibe that kind of fit what we were trying to do. So we just kind of went with that, and it kind of rolled off the tongue well. And we just thought it kind of looked cool. And was it you that said that you thought it looked cool as a logo too?
I just thought that based on the words, like the letters, Lucrecia, it's all relatively the same length.
Yes.
And so it looks good in cursive.
Yes.
And then I said it would look good in cursive or metal font, which was important to me.
Yes.
So I know we came up with the name was so important to us too, because we really wanted to sound not necessarily feminine, but like, I guess feminine if you want to, if it's easier to understand, like something like beautiful, kind of like soft. And then also I felt like it could carry itself as also like kind of like a heavy name too. Yeah. So I just I thought it described, when he said it, I thought it described like what we're trying to go for musically and visually. And that's pretty much that, because I couldn't go with a name, and I'm really picky. Like I'll sit there for like months months.
Yeah.
Just because it's so, I feel like that's like the first thing someone's gonna see sometimes,
Exactly. That's the first impression. That's the first image.
Yeah.
And what I think is really unique about you guys' logo, I don't know if anybody's ever told you this before. So you have the cursive, but the metal logo behind it, hands down, I'm like, isn't that the annotations of an autopsy logo though? Because like it has that same shape to it. By no means am I saying y'all are copying them, but I'm like, wait a minute.
I have some cool backstory for you right now. Hold on. Give me like 2 seconds.
Okay.
I'm gonna show you some stuff.
Yeah, because the person we had design it is the famous.
He did the annotation of an autopsy logo.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he did the Disfiguring the Goddess and annotation of an autopsy logo. So there's this game that me and Suki used to play a lot.
Yeah.
You maybe heard it.
His name first.
Oh, his name is his company is called Consumed Media. I can't remember his freaking name right now.
Yo, that's cool. I was actually watching a time lapse for him the other day for Volodinia's side project.
You can link him below, or we can link up.
Yeah, he's the one who did our logo.
He did our whole logo. He did the background. He did
for
the middle. He did the cursive.
Yeah.
Oh, and he did the Rhapsodos 3D.
When we draw like our first song that we ever put out.
That's supposed to be like Lucrecia in the cave, and he designed that whole thing in
Blender, I think.
Blender.
Yeah.
Like years ago, bro.
That's
took him
freaking crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
He literally built everything from scratch, like 3D render.
Wow.
So,
yeah, so if anybody wants a good artist and he's available, Consumed,
he does really great logos.
Get the link for that because he's really.
I love how he made that connection. That's so fucking cool. I'm like, wait a minute.
Cool. Know him because honestly, he deserves it, and he's really talented.
So
he listened to everything we wanted.
Yeah, he did a really good job. He did a really awesome job.
Yeah.
So the backstory behind the logo. When we were deciding on the logo, Suki said that she wanted to do something like metal font with cursive over it to kind of give it like this duality of contrast of like how the music will sound, like how we have like post-hardcore, like softer, like rock elements, as well as like deathcore, like metal elements.
That's dope.
She was like, we should go for something like really aesthetic that really kind of fits the vibe.
I saw a few other bands that had like those cool ass backgrounds to their logos.
Yeah. So
it was one of them.
I don't remember now.
One of them. Remember the band?
It was so long ago, dude.
One of them had like little clocks.
Yeah.
And I thought of a video game, and they do that all the time.
Yeah, Japanese games do it a lot.
They always put like a cool design behind the name, and I was like, we should do that.
So there was this game that we were playing a lot at the time called Blaze Blue. It's a fighting game made by the same company that makes the series Guilty Gear. It's like an offshoot game that they have. But the logo for some reason is like kind of like a metal font type logo.
Yeah.
It's not really like death metal font, but it's like has a metal-esque kind of vibe to it. And there's like a shape. It has like a shape kind of similar to like the Disfiguring the Goddess or Annotations logo.
Yeah.
But behind their
he's looking at the game right now.
Yeah, I'm about to show it to you guys. Behind the logo, they always put like this glyph. Like a different glyph on every game to kind of show like, I don't know, just for like the stylistic purposes, but it's just like a reoccurring thing to use these glyphs. And Suki was like, she showed me all these different logos with all this cool stuff behind it. And she's like, well, what if we did something like a glyph like this game? And she had a bunch of like the different glyphs from Blaze Blue saved. And I was like, oh, that would be pretty cool. So we gave it to the Consume guy and we're like, can you make us something?
We crossed our fingers because we knew it was hard.
Yeah,
there's actually people like dedicated to doing glyphs in Japan. And he said, I'm pretty sure he said I love Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear.
Yeah, he said
and he knew what it was.
So we're like, thank God. So yeah, we had him actually
You went like extra hard on that. You could tell because he knew what it was, so he wanted to make it look good.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like important, I feel like, to find someone who likes if you want to find someone to direct your video, if they know the anime or the movie you're inspired by, it's so helpful.
Right.
Because they will try extra hard.
Yeah, most of the time.
Because they love it. So I'm just like, I don't know, I feel like that's
I don't know if you'll be able to see it super well, but as you can see,
I can see it.
The shape of the logo is like kind of like the metal-esque type shape for like deathcore font, and then behind it there's like this crazy ass glyph.
Yes.
And so we kind of like use that as our template, and then here's like another one. This one doesn't really have as nice of a glyph, but you get the same vibe though. So
that's dope.
So when we made it, we were like, can you do something similar like this where you put like death metal font kind of shaped like this? And I figured he'd be pretty good because, like I said, since he did the annotations logo and the Disfiguring the Goddess logo,
That's crazy.
I thought that it would, kind of be shaped well. So I kind of, and he did a logo for my band like a long time ago. My band plays the Armada. He did this like really quick design for us, like when he was first starting out. So I always thought it was really cool. So I was like, oh, he'd probably be good for like another one. So yeah. And then Suki was just like, can you put like some cursive over it to give it like kind of like
put our thing over it and then put that over that. It'll be like 3 layers.
Yeah. So
if we want to make like a merch that we feel like the cursive would look better because it's like anime.
Yeah.
Or sad, and then or we feel the metal one would look better with this design, then we do that. Like so we can be like versatile.
Yeah, right. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, he did cook us up like a really, really good logo that we really fit like the like different kind of layers and stuff like that. And so,
no, you go ahead. Sorry.
So I was gonna say, that's the story behind our logo and like the band name and all that stuff. But say whatever you're gonna say.
No, you're good. So basically, the cool thing is, y'all don't know this, or maybe you don't know this, maybe you do. I'm not sure. But there are so many bands with all these like illegible logos, right? But then they'll have the word for it right below in parentheses. Y'all have already done that, and you don't even realize that. Like you already have that taken care of.
Yeah, because we want to appeal to people that don't only listen to that kind of music too, exactly. And I want it to be also like legible.
Legible, yeah.
But I also wanted to make merch that had that aesthetic on it because we liked a lot of like rapper designs, and they had like the metal font.
Yeah, and it was really funny. At the time when we made the logo, a lot of people within the metal community were kind of anti-metal fonts. They were like, a lot of bands at that time were going for like, they were redoing fonts and just doing fonts that were very like simple and like block.
Minimalistic.
Yeah, and we're getting a lot of people within our like contemporaries within our community were giving us like flack, like not really like busting our balls or anything, but they're giving us flack, telling us like, dude, if you use like a metal logo like that, it's not gonna sell. Like people don't really fuck with that anymore. And our mind was that first off, we still really like metal fonts, and second, a lot of these rappers we listen to have been using metal fonts, so we think that's kind of cool stylistic. Yeah, so we had a lot of different reasons, and then coincidentally, metal font came back. So then everybody was like, "Yeah, this logo and this thing's pretty cool." So it just kind of worked out again.
Get cool ass like anime girl, and they'll put like the metal font over it, and that's like the rapper's hoodie. It's like
so it kind of worked out that a lot of people like the aesthetics, and a lot of like that became really mainstream. Kind of was already stuff that we were kind of messing with. So,
but see, that's like again, that just shows you if anybody's listening and they're like hesitant to do an idea because maybe someone said something to you, like don't listen to them, honestly. And there's no point in listening to them anyways. Are they gonna help you become famous? No. Are they gonna give you better ideas? No.
That's true.
Like, of course, you can get different perspectives, and you can be like, okay, I'll keep this in consideration. But when people are like, yo, stop doing metal logos, or I'm not going to buy your merch. They're like, kiss my ass, dude. I'm not here for you.
Our stuff ever. They're never people that are buying our stuff.
Exactly. So it's like, yo,
like other band people, or just stuff. People from the scene.
They're just being naysayers.
And again, they're not going to help you become up with a better one. So listen to them.
Yeah, it's by all means, like, dude, I'm trying to get into calligraphy, and I might be doing most of the band's logos except for the one I already did. Like this cross is going to be part of the marketing because it's my cross. It's my cross. Don't take it. But
that's good. I'm trying to come up with like a mascot, so that's really great that you found your symbol.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I didn't even make this. My roommate, who I'm actually living with right now, moving over to Tennessee with me. We're living with his family at the moment. We had a band called Upon These Scars back in the day, and it was like really just like one of those stick logos, but for me it kind of reminded me of like Venom or a symbiote because it was the sticks, it was the pointy sticks, but it also had goo. Upon These Scars.
I like that.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Like that too. I always like that look with a little bit drippy drip or like blood
drip.
Like some like strings.
Yeah, exactly. So like we did that, and we were trying to make that project, and basically you can't really see it right now because it's like really small, but it's UT, and then it's almost like a double-headed snake or a double-ended snake, and that's the S, and that's
okay.
It's really cool.
Abbreviation of your old logo of your band name.
Yeah, basically after I decided that I wanted my alias or alias, alias. There we go. Yeah. After I wanted my alias to be Sean Cross, I'm like, if I'm Sean Cross, then why don't I just use a cross?
That makes sense. And then people will remember it better.
Yeah, exactly. So That and the corpse paint now, it's like an easy incorporation. I'm like, I'll just put my cross in the middle of my forehead. People will remember. And so far they have.
I thought that was like Snake talking for a second.
But yeah, by all means, like, you know, that's kind of how you do it. And, you know, that's when it comes to visual aesthetics and stuff, I am in love with like bands like Beartooth or Wage War when they just randomly cook up a death metal logo or like a metal logo, but it definitely has more of the drip to it. It has more of, you know, the edginess to it. It's dope. It's really cool. Spirit Box did it recently. Hoshibori, which shout out to them because they're an awesome brand, awesome upcoming brand. And I can, y'all need to help these guys make hoodies.
Yeah.
Hoodie. Collab with Lucrecia. That would be fucking sick. Like, that would be so cool. Some freaking kawaii.
I so much like cool stuff out, but I need help from basically people like that, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean,
ideas, but limited right now.
Yeah, there's always that limit at first, but it's like, I mean, shit. As soon as you get through the door and just start talking to more people, they're like, yeah, you can come play with us at this big old theater in downtown. And you're like, wait, for real? And then it just kind of shoots off from them.
Yeah.
But question 5, this is the second to last question for the night. And by all means, you guys have been really, really awesome. And I appreciate the time that you've provided to this channel, to this podcast, because it's actually surreal that I found you all a year ago. And now y'all are, we're having a conversation and we're just talking about your band, promoting your art. It's actually kind of a dream come true. And, I know you guys are going to get fucking huge. And if you don't, then, I'm wrong. But I have like for the sake of confidence and optimism, I have a feeling that these guys are going to blow up, and it'll all be thanks to you guys. So keep streaming their songs, of course. But question
I can give you more cool stuff.
Exactly. They're gonna make fire merch. They might collab with Shibori. I'm sure they can get that cooked up.
We got all kinds of crazy video plans, song plans. Like,
yeah.
I just wish I didn't work a full-time job on top of it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I'm like,
everybody's there. It's so selfish, but it's the truth. It's really hard to balance.
Yeah, like, we're mortal. We're human beings. We don't have.
But if you have to sleep, I wouldn't complain. I swear to God.
Exactly.
It's the sleeping part.
If we could live off of Red Bull, we'd be getting a lot more shit done, people. I promise you.
Yeah, trust me. All right, that's cool. Like, I can do 2 jobs. It's more the sleeping part that gets in the way.
Yeah. So question 5 being, like, since you all have started Lucrecia and you guys have accomplished what you've accomplished, whether it be tens of thousands of views and likes and just streams on various music streaming platforms, what are some milestones you guys have met as a band that perhaps even up to now you thought you wouldn't accomplish?
Okay, I guess she said kill first. So I would say probably the first couple ones, I'll name like 2 so I don't steal any from Suki. Well, because we've only been doing stuff for a fairly short amount of time. At first we started off, we were just like a studio recording band. So I would say the first one would probably be the fact that after starting just as a studio band, that we were able to actually form into like a regular band. Yeah. And kind of make that transition, and the transition go relatively smoothly without, many hiccups. I'd say in comparison to a lot of other bands I've had where I've had started out with full bands and stuff like that, this has probably been the smoothest process. As long as we keep working, everything always keeps kind of going well. So I'm happy about that. Yeah. Another milestone I'd say would be our kind of like our show track record, I guess. We had a really good run of shows after we started touring. We were really fortunate enough to be able to kind of meet some pretty nice people that really liked Lucrecia, so they gave us a lot of really great show offers. And right before the pandemic, we even got to play this really, really, really great show. We played 2 really great shows. One in San Francisco, like in our home base, hometown area, at the Regency Ballroom, which is like one of the biggest venues in town. We got to play there with like Polyphia and Issues.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And Token, which was super cool. It was like a really, really big show. Like, everybody in our town came out.
It's a famous venue. Yeah, it's like super.
Yeah, we've gone to like so many shows there and stuff like that. So it was really cool, and to be able to play that to like such a big crowd, to, like I said, all our family and friends, and like all these people that never heard of us.
Everybody who likes Polyphia was there.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
It was a lot of people.
Yeah, so it was a really good experience. Like, I would say that was probably one, and then probably most definitely the success of Brotherhood and Sleeping Slaves, I'd probably say is like my second most favorite milestone, because every time I put out a song, I don't really know how well it's gonna do.
Yeah.
I always feel really nervous, to be honest, that people aren't gonna like my ideas or like Suki's ideas or whatever we came up with.
Yeah.
But when I see people responding positively, and the overall ratio of positive to negative being like exceedingly higher on the positive end, it always does make me feel better. I feel happy that people like my ideas, or just stuff like that, and that they find enjoyment. Or when people message me saying, "Hey, I listen to your songs, Sleeping Saves like 20 times, and
Yeah.
I'm in love. I can't wait to see you guys." And just stuff like that really makes me feel happy. It feels good making friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Through our music. I'd say that me and Suki are kind of shy people, and kind of naturally recluses. So I would say without music, we probably wouldn't have as many friends as we do now. So it's kind of nice to be able to, play a show and be able to hang out with a bunch of people that are happy to be with you, and just have a good time and stuff like that. So I'd say those are my favorite things about
luckily they're nerds, so it's not like I gotta force anything. They actually usually like a handful of some things that we like.
Yeah, they bond with us over
maybe not all the same stuff, but there's definitely like a good chunk of similar interests.
Oh, I want to say one last thing actually before I let Suki go. One thing that's always really cool too, that's like kind of a milestone that we kind of set for ourselves personally, was just kind of like bonding with people that you wouldn't find at a metal show.
Yeah.
We get a lot of messages too, more so recently, that like we'll have people tell us that we're like their first metal band they've ever listened to. Ooh. Or that like this is the first metal show that they've ever gone to, because they cool. Just enjoy anime, or they think it's cool that there are people like them that have a deep love for like anime or games or whatever, and can transpose that love into their art or their medium, and do it in a way that they appreciate and enjoy. So I'd say that's another one.
That's really dope.
You can go see.
For me personally, I guess, well, because it's kind of hard to speak for the full idea of the band,
right.
Because I often have my own goals in mind too, which is just Lucrecia's goals in general. So I know it's hard to say, but
it kind of goes back and forth, goes hand in hand.
Just me and him, and so like our dreams and our goals are Lucrecia's goals. So even if it's only personal to me, it's still Lucrecia's goals. So like that's where it's kind of hard. But I would say for me, gosh, I had it and then now it's gone.
It's okay, take your time.
It's the tour, the show, recorded music videos, people you met.
Like I don't know, like being able to just like I said, stuff that pretty much influenced me as a person growing up, anime and games, because I didn't really have like family or anything like that. So being able to freely express myself in my own way, which is this way. I don't have any other perspective, unfortunately, but I guess at least it's unique and people like it, and hopefully like it encourages other people maybe in similar situations where they don't really have like a normal, like something normal maybe inspiring them. I don't know what normal is, honestly, if there is such thing as normal. But
it doesn't exist. It is an illusion.
Yeah, I think that people kind of put too much pressure on that.
Yeah.
I think most people don't have that normal kind of thing.
Normalcy.
I never really like took those things as less than just because they weren't real. Like to me, they're just as real as anything else. But I guess it'd be that. And I've also, like he said, made friends too recently where I had friends in high school because I was kind of like the class clown.
Yeah.
But then like after that, everybody went their separate ways. They started having babies,
Yeah.
I moved to Oakland. And I didn't really have any friends after that for a long time until I started playing shows and doing this music. And I had a lot of girls reach out to me that genuinely wanted to be my friend, which was something I haven't had in a long time, because girls are pretty tough sometimes.
They
can be brutal, If you have something they don't have, they don't want to be your friend. It's like petty.
Yeah.
But I've gotten a lot of genuine friendships recently. They're actually my best friends now. I'm going to see most of them tonight, actually. I wouldn't have known them without Lucrecia, like, because the song spoke to them so much that they wanted to meet me. Like, they wanted to make the effort. It's not just me making an effort like usual.
Yeah.
They're making equal amounts of effort. We liked similar things. Why not be friends? You know, like, that was always my perspective. But yeah, that's been nice. And I guess I could say this. My goal pretty much is to, like I said, be in an anime, do an anime opening and closing song. I want to make music and make a video game. I want to make music for a video game and make a video game. We already been coming up with the story and all that. It just all costs money. All of it costs money.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be my goal in the future. And so far, I've been able to meet a lot of people that I've respected that respect me now, which is like crazy, you know. And it wasn't easy. Like, some of these people, it took a lot of. Sorry, my dog just went crazy for a second.
You're good.
Yeah, a lot of them, like, you know, don't really just start talking to you at first. You know, it's like you gotta put in that work.
Yeah.
And some of them see potential in you. They don't really care about that. That's also really nice too. When they see potential and they see that you're working hard.
Yeah.
And you may not have the numbers yet, but they can see you're gonna have the numbers hopefully one day if you just get your stuff out there.
Yeah.
It's really nice having them like respect me too, because that's not so superficial to me.
Yeah.
But being able to collaborate with my favorite artists, like, I never thought I'd be able to have Luke Holland on our stuff. Like, I remember asking him years ago when I went to their show, Jason Richardson and Luke Holland, and I don't even know if we came out with one song yet. Maybe one. It was my cover out. I think just my cover.
No, I think it was
Rhapsodos. I think we had, like, literally my cover, my first song ever, and then, like, Rhapsodos. And I was like, hey, I'm not ready yet, but, like, in the event that I get this album done, and, you know, it's my dream to have you on it. He's like, oh, okay. And I was like, oh, what's the best way of reaching out to you? He's like, email. And, like, literally years later, like, we emailed them. And we showed him the EP, and he said, he said, I haven't done metal in years, but I like this so much, I really want to be on it. And I was like, wow, now that's like a huge compliment, because I love Luke Holland so much, and he's really good. And, you know, he explained that it's not the money. He just wouldn't, like, do the music if he didn't like it, because he doesn't really do metal anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'd say, like, those couple of things pretty much. Yeah.
What about your first tour?
My first tour was terrifying.
I don't know. I still think it's pretty
The
cool.
first time I was on a stage, like, it was the worst. I had laryngitis. I got it the night before. I got laryngitis.
Oh no.
It was like, I sounded like crap, and I looked like crap. I felt like crap.
Yeah.
The first tour was like the first time ever performing on stage, though. So it was still
I
pretty
had
crazy,
stage fright.
Yeah.
Show or anything before.
It was terrible.
Dude, I got. So just to add in a little bit of experience, I have performed live now, which is like really weird to think about. But the thing is, I did an acoustic cover in front of it's the school that I graduated from back in AZ. I did an acoustic cover, the low gains mix for Bear Toots the Lines, right? Okay. So I performed that live in front of like a great number of parents, and basically the only thing that I said before that, in which I was doing guitar and vocals, is that this was a song about suicide awareness. And I started playing the song, I got through it, and right before I skateboarded all the way home, like 5 blocks down the street, there were parents that, you know, approached me. They like shook my hand and stuff, and they're like, that was really cool. That was a really cool song. And, you know, some suicide awareness. It's really important. I'm like, thank you so much. Like, nothing original, but it was still something. And I gotta tell you, like, that was stage fright right there. But as soon as I let go, as soon as I just let it fly away like a little dove for theatrical purposes, it was all good. It was all good after that. And I can only hope that after, you know, that like, do you think you still have stage fright? Are you still really nervous when it comes to stage performances and stuff?
I think because I was thrown into like the deep end, because we just had the tour and we did it for 2 weeks straight with only 1 day off.
Oh, so shit.
Every night I did a show in a new place.
Yeah.
it's at that moment, I mean, you pretty much have a gun to your head. It's either buck up or shut up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let down these fans that drove like 30, 40, sometimes an hour away to see you. I mean, I just like have the pressure on my shoulders to not let them down. And then by the end of the tour, I was like so much more comfortable. So nowadays, it's not so bad.
Yeah,
actually,
him on stage, dude.
no, I still get nervous, but it's not nearly the same at all. Like I get maybe a little bit of shivers. I forget sometimes, like what to do, what to say, my lyrics sometimes because I'm so nervous.
Yeah.
But it's not nearly the same because before it was like literally panic attack, stage fright.
Yeah. No, I
Now
get
it's just
that.
like nerves. I'm nervous, but I'm gonna do it anyways, and I get through it, and people love it, and it's okay.
Yeah, and that's really cool. It's like at least at the end of it all, you still got through all these shows, even after being sick and feeling like shit. And you thought you looked like shit. It's really you performing in the first place that counts. And I'm more than grateful that you were able to get past that obstacle, because I know plenty of musicians who still have stage fright. It doesn't matter how big their band is. It doesn't matter how long they've been doing vocals, especially perfectionists. Like, dude,
that's how I feel.
Yeah, and it's part of the art. It's part of the art. It gets your blood pumping, and sometimes it gets your blood pumping in a negative way. But at the end of the day, it's all worth it because Lucrecia is slowly climbing up into the ranks. And I mean, I'm more than happy to be at least one of the people, if not the very first person to interview y'all, because I understand y'all did a podcast session yesterday or the day before,
like earlier in the week. I think on Wednesday.
To be honest, before that, it's been years. I'm pretty sure. So this is like the first in a long time. So it might as well be like the first in a way because it was years ago.
Yeah, the Patrick Jewell I think was like the last time we did a podcast.
That was like Brotherhood. So.
Oh shoot, that's crazy.
That was a while. It's been a while.
Yeah. We didn't have any requests for a long time, and so I would consider this still like
one of the first.
Most definitely.
Still brand new. Yeah, no, I completely get that. And again,
you're asking about the new songs and all that, and
yeah, no, it's definitely fresh. Oh yeah, of course. Like I love this band. I love this project, and I'm so excited to see where it goes. Of course, by all means. So, with all of that in mind, the last question of the night. Bum bum bum. We got, what's the next step for Lucrecia?
All right, you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Next step is to continue to release our next songs, and we're going to do each one like a video. So next one is Mementos, which we were inspired by Persona 5.
Ooh.
We just finalized pretty much everything, so we're going to start filming that soon. Our director had to do a little bit of some personal stuff where he wasn't available. The original date that we had, which was the beginning of February, I believe, or mid-February or January. Yeah, so we're pushed that back a little bit, but you gotta do what you gotta do, roll with the punches. And the next few songs are each of them is gonna have a video, so unfortunately you guys gotta wait. But they'll all have like really badass videos, so I think that it's worth it because I'm really big on visuals and audio all together. I really like the full experience personally. So that's what I want to do. Again, I just do what I want and what I like.
Exactly.
And then right now, in the meantime, while we're getting the videos ready, because the songs have been done for about like a year and a half or 2 years, we're actually currently writing our full-length album. And I think we just got like how many songs we got back off of it? It's like out of 12. We got like 6 out of 12.
We have like 9
out of 12. So we're pretty much almost done with the next album.
Yeah, we're doing all the test demos right now.
Yeah, so I'm going to start writing lyrics soon, and then we're going to start booking the dates. And so that will be ready to come out hopefully seamlessly after like the last video for this EP comes out. Like the timing hopefully will be just right.
Yeah, we tried to put a lot of time planning into the timing to make sure that we could make sure that like there was like seamless, so that like whatever attention that we got through this EP's like little release schedule can carry over into like a full-length release.
And I don't think we're doing a video for each song, the next one, because there's like 12 songs.
Yeah, no, ideally.
Just this one. But we do have quite a few videos planned for that one as well, because there's a few songs that are very, very different and no one's ever tried before, really. Like the genres and the like, it's like really, I guess, proggy in a sense, because it's like not done before. But
so experimental, that could be another word for it.
Kind of, yeah. It's still like, you know, Lucrecia as fuck, but
Yeah.
like I think people are gonna have like I think they're gonna be surprised and like really excited. I think it's gonna like surprise them in a really good way. And yeah, I think they're not gonna expect it, and they're gonna be like, whoa, like their pants are gonna be like ripped. They're gonna be like naked all of a sudden. They're like Japanese food wars. So like, oh, like eating like the delicious food.
That's great. So I as far as this EP and the album goes, I noticed the name Mineth in the description for Slaves of Mineth.
Maineth.
Yeah,
I know it's crazy looking, but in the game, that's how they say it.
Okay, so
I base it off of what they say in the game.
Right.
When we were trying to decide on an album name, we were kind of having a little bit of trouble. We got this girl. What's her name right now? I can't remember her name.
Her Instagram name right now.
The artist that did our album cover, but we haven't aired it yet. We were probably gonna unveil it either on the next video or probably the one after that if we don't use single
like art. Physical, like a limited amount physical copies.
Yeah, that was cool. So we I'll describe the cover a little bit, but it pretty much we had this girl who does this mixture of like Japanese anime mixed with like French Art Nouveau style. So it has like a really, really, really unique look. And Suki, when we decided on the album cover, like what we wanted, she just decided that she wanted like this, like an anime Art Nouveau girl. So we were like, okay. So we found this artist, and she had a lot of really great work. She'd even done some work on, I don't know if you guys know the game, but it's Castlevania Symphony of the Night. It's an old PS1 game, but it's like a really, really famous Castlevania game.
And she's from Russia.
But she did the 10th anniversary OST like vinyl re-release covers, and she did art like her own rendition of Alucard from Castlevania, and it looked really, really amazing. We're like, wow, this looks super good. So we're like, yeah, we most definitely have to commission this.
I think
girl.
we hired her before we knew that.
We decided on her, but then we ended up finding out after that she did this, and we're like, yeah, most definitely.
It's hard to find someone who does anime and Art Nouveau and does it well.
Yeah, so it was so.
When we saw her, we knew that she was the one.
Yeah, so after we decided on her, we had her just do this design where it's like this girl, this fantasy type girl where she's like in a throne with like a sword, and then like this really, really fancy like assorted armor on. And we felt that it needed like a name, like a feminine sounding name, but something that sounded kind of like powerful or strong.
Like fantasy like.
Yeah, it had to have like this the vibe of like the
RPG like.
Yeah, because that was the kind of vibe we wanted to give off as like an RPG cover, like something you'd see like in an RPG game book or like on a strategy guide or something like that, like back in the day. Okay. So because like our packaging too, when we do our actual physical, we kind of wanted to emulate some of that like old PS1 RPG kind of stuff. Within our packaging, so we were like really wanted to go for this vibe. So we were like trying to think. We're like, fuck, man, what would be a good name? And we on the album we have a song. It's going to be the song that we released after this next one, Mementos. It's called Architect. It's about this game called Xenoblade Chronicles. Yes, and the first Xenoblade Chronicles, there's this character named Maineth who kind of is like
she's kind of like the queen.
She's like a god, like a matriarch type god.
Yeah.
And
of this like people. Yeah. And she's really like classy, but like strong.
Yeah, she's super poised. She just has like a
really classy, poised, but strong, badass motherfucker.
Yeah. So and both Suki and I really like the character and the story, and we just were like, what maybe this name. So we tried it, and we thought it rolled off the tongue pretty well, kind of like we did with the Lucrecia thing. So we kind of decided that was gonna be the name for the album.
I thought the girl on the cover looked like Maineth. So
oh, yeah.
like she looked like a Maineth. I could see her being a Maineth.
Right.
Yeah, it when
you see it, maybe it'll make more sense.
Yeah.
Right. It's not released yet. It's a secret.
Well, the question I was gonna ask is, y'all have the EP, so is that like the collective of all the songs?
We went off on a tangent.
then Maynith. No, you're good.
Can you? Sorry, would you be able to repeat the question, but with the mic a little bit closer? It got kind of far away sounding. There we go. Thank you.
Right. Sorry. No, you're good. So, as far as this EP is the collective of like Sleeping Slaves of Fate, Brotherhood, and the tracks you've released so far, correct?
No, they're actually all different songs.
Okay.
The songs that we released prior to Sleeping Slaves, those are like a collection of like, I would just call them like the singles, I guess if you want to call them like EP, where when we first started out as a band, before we kind of like transitioned into like more of a serious like doing with the live band thing and just trying to like write full-length albums and stuff like that. Those were the songs that Daisuke, Suki, and myself spent time like writing just individually, and we didn't really have like any kind of set plan. We're just like, we're gonna write the song, and when it's finished, we'll release it. And that was kind of like our method. Sometimes we get like one song done a year. Sometimes Suki and myself and Daisuke would get like 3-4 songs done a year. It just kind of depended. Like we were just kind of like going at our own pace for a bit. But when we transitioned after Katawade Doki, when we released that song, we decided that we were gonna kind of go for like more universal kind of like theme with the music, where it's just like one cohesive thought for Lucrecia and like what people should expect from Lucrecia. So we decided to write 6 whole new songs together. And so Sleeping Slaves is a part of that collection of 5 other songs, including Mementos. It's like Sleeping Slaves, Mementos, and then the song Architect, and then a couple other songs.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then after that will be Maynith, which is going to be the full length, your debut full length.
Maynith is the EP. Maynith is the EP. That's the one with Sleeping Slaves and all that stuff. No, it's okay. It's okay. It actually doesn't have a name yet. We kind of decide on like when we're writing, we kind of generally decide on like the topics of the songs first, and then kind of based on what we feel the overall vibe of the album is, we'll kind of come up with like the name and like the art and stuff like that.
I'll explain too. In Japan, often you'll have artists who release a single and it's not on any CD.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I was okay with that because I grew up listening to a lot of J-rock growing up. And that's it. They're there. Maybe eventually one day we might redo them because hopefully my vocals will get more badass, and then that'd be kind of cool, to redo it. I've already think I'm a better singer than back then, so
you are,
I think I could add some more stuff in there. But those are in the past. What's all new stuff from here on out? Okay, stuff you've never heard, no re-releasing anything. That's all new songs on the EP, 6 songs, and we have like an intro song, and that's gonna be like animated, like full on. We're gonna hire like an animation team, and they're gonna make it like a mech inspired anime. For it.
Yeah, it's fucking dope.
Have the characters designed and everything. We just need to like, we're not gonna release it right now, so no point in like kind of trying to set up a date for like the animation crew. But we've already been like scouting people. Like there's a lot of crews in Korea and other countries around there that do stuff like this. So that's gonna be the last thing we do, because I bet you that's gonna be like the hardest.
Yes, like the most time oriented, the most schedule based.
Yeah, it's a lot of
There's
like
a lot of, and then like I still have to do the storyboard, and we have to like they have to make a lot of action shots, and that's usually kind of hard.
Right.
Although the song isn't long, thank God, because it's an intro song.
Yeah.
But we have to make it fit to the song too. Like all my story ideas and his story ideas have to fit in this short intro song, so like, I'm gonna figure that out too.
Well,
and the money's probably gonna be like might be the most expensive we release.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be good though.
No, I'm sure it'll be great. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool.
And if anything, the final like this by all means this is an extra question, but like super curious about this now. So Suki, you were talking about wanting to make the music, like make an OST or make an opening and then make a video game. So I suddenly had the question, have you ever thought about incorporating the narrative of whatever video game that you're trying to write into future work? And this is like far future work for Lucrecia, because that can intertwine so well.
Yeah, we do actually. We're hoping to have like a music video that's kind of like related to it.
Yeah.
Where it actually has to do with the game. But we're still kind of like coming up with that idea a little bit, because I'm like I said, I'm really picky. I'm super picky about perfection,
That's Best thing
And
you
that's
can
something
make.
that like means a lot to me because I love JRPG so much. But we've already kind of come up with like ideas for the game though. And I actually started drawing some of the characters already too. Like when inspiration will randomly hit me, I'll like hurry and write, draw them
Yeah.
down. And sometimes you can't, you're just sitting there and you're like, no ideas is coming to you.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I like kind of start early. Like if I have ideas throughout the year, I'll just draw them when I can, and then they'll be ready for me then. And sometimes they come from dreams and stuff, which you can't always like predict.
Can't
You're
always
gonna have a
recount.
dream.
Yeah,
You're like,
exactly.
I can't predict I'll come up with this idea if I didn't have it yet. But yeah, we actually have like this crazy idea that we kind of thought of tying the game in together. But again, it's gonna like so expensive. Like
It's
I'm just
ambitious
thinking,
too.
and then we're thinking of like releasing like the short demo of the game, like with the song, like it's gonna be like a little package thing.
That'd be fucking cool, man. I'm gonna
Yeah,
tell you that
and then
right
like we make
now.
all the music for it as well.
Exactly. Because like that's a
Yeah.
different level of creative, like just creativity. You got bands like
it's
Distant
crazy
in the
now.
scene as of recently, who like we've also interviewed on the podcast, and I've had the honor of talking with at least 2 of them out of the 7 or 6 or something. But
Yeah.
They released, let's see, a collective of 4 different records, and then they wrote a freaking book on it. And I have the book
Yeah,
on
that's
me.
awesome.
Oh, that's tight.
Like,
See, I
that's
like stuff like that. I
badass.
feel like it entertains the fans a lot, I feel like if you have lots of ideas, you might as well bring it to the table because fans love it. So why not? I know that I always love that stuff. Like my favorite band or my favorite video game, when they come out, oh, special edition, it comes with a pack of cards. I'm like, gotta get it.
Gotta get it.
Gotta get it. Gotta go on my shelf and never be open. It's gonna be great.
Right? No, it's awesome.
Yeah, any little extra like thing or we just released the illustration book of all the pre-concept designs of the characters. Look, this is how they almost look like. It's like not even really useful because that's not how the character looks like anymore. But for me, I'm like, oh, so they could have looked like that.
Yeah, no, that's a different level of involvement and just like getting involved with what you're doing. But no, it's badass, and that's really awesome. Like that's something definitely to look forward to in the future, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Anatomy Podcast. This was Franki and Suki from Lucrecia. They got a couple music videos coming out here pretty soon. They got a lot of stuff planned, that's for damn sure, and a lot of stuff that, again, I am looking forward to. I hope you're looking forward to it as well. Add to the count of streams or likes or freaking subscriptions.
Or shout to somebody that will like it, even if you don't like it. So I'm sure somebody that will like it.
Yeah, like seriously, if you're here subscribed to my channel, you got to understand that I'm a big weeb. I'm a big metalhead.
Yeah.
And, I do corpse paint, and I like being funny. I like people's reactions. I like emotion. We have souls here on the channel. But that being said, this was, again, Franki and Suki from Lucrecia taking the time to stop by and hang out with us, talk about what they got going on. More than an honor to have them on. As we've been saying throughout the session, like I was super giddy, like fanboy this morning. I'm like, oh my God, Lucrecia's going to be on my podcast. Holy shit. Yeah, you got it. But yeah, you guys be sure to have an awesome night. And in the future, later this year, we will go ahead and get back in contact with Franki and Suki about Under the Skin sessions, kind of lyrically dissecting their songs, whether in the past
that sounds fun.
Or the future. Yeah, it's super fun. I love doing it.
Yeah.
It's like
the reason that yet.
Yeah, we put a lot of work into our lyrics, so and since they're always like inspired by other stuff, it's always fun to talk about it. So yeah, we'd be more than happy to.
Yeah, hell yeah. So in that case, look forward to that, people, and otherwise be sure to have a great night. Thank you guys.
Bye, Johnny.
Johnny.